Trigger warning. Explicit sexual content. Chapter 6. No indifference. When Atsumu enters Ikoa's office after 2 knocks on the door, he catches the Q-Micho playing with the buttons of Iwaizumi's shirt, suspiciously hanging over him. Iwaizumi has his arms folded in front of his chest. God, those strong arms and that defined chest, and is not fazed by either Ikoa or Atsumu, who has not necessarily been waiting for a sign that he may enter. Atsu-chan, Ikoa says with a smile on his lips after whipping his head into Atsumu's direction, slowly detaching himself from Iwaizumi while blowing smoke from his lungs. Atsumu squints. Where is Sakusa? He asks as he pulls the door shut behind him. Atsumu faces Ikoa and Iwaizumi, shoving his hands into his jacket pockets. Iwaizumi raises an eyebrow and stares at Ikoa silently. He has a day off, the Q-Micho says nonchalantly, taking another drag, then hands the cigarette to Iwaizumi. When he turns back to Atsumu, he frowns. Didn't he tell you? The bastard never tells me anything. No, Atsumu replies, pissed off. Ikoa chuckles. You guys should really work on communicating. Actually, I'll soon make sure he shuts up for good, Atsumu mumbles as his gaze drops to the floor, trying not to be too irritated by Sakusa. What a prick. A few days have passed since they finished Yako off in 𝒕𝒍𝒂𝒄𝒆𝒔. During that time, Atsumu and Sakusa have been looking for more hints about Osamu and have passed on the information to Ikoa that Osamu might be in Osaka. Ikoa is currently using his contacts to avoid rushing off blindly. He has connections to smaller gangs in Osaka and is checking whether there is any truth in Yako's words or not. Until then, it's just a matter of waiting. Several small groups are settled in Osaka, but none of the 3 big yakuza really dare to touch the city or prefecture because it's too close to Hyogo, a restricted area. Assassin's territory. They might get the wrong idea if somebody takes over it at this point. This means Osaka is independent. Atsumu has always loved that about this city. So, if he enters it with Sakusa, he must be careful not to send any wrong signals. Sakusa is yakuza after all. Ikoa's yakuza in particular. The man isn't exactly appreciated in Hyogo. Where the hell is he even? Atsumu asks annoyed, referring to Sakusa. His irritated gaze is now back on Ikoa. Tokyo, the latter responds charmingly. Atsumu grimaces. The fuck is he doing in Tokyo? As far as Atsumu knows, and damn he would be a fool if he didn't, Tokyo is where the headquarters of the Schweden Adler is. A Shijima's yakuza. If it was that risky for Atsumu and Sakusa to be seen in 𝒕𝒍𝒂𝒄𝒆𝒔, why would he voluntarily go to fucking Tokyo, of all places, where a Shijima's men are practically waiting to kill him? And why did Ikoa allow this trip in the first place? It puts his gang at least as much in danger. He's visiting his family, Ikoa explains, causing Atsumu to deepen his frown. Is everyone here fucking stupid? Carver, Iwaizumi scowls at his boss but Ikoa interrupts him, lifting his hand and refocusing his gaze on Atsumu. You wanna tell me he got family? Atsumu starts, dumbfounded. In Tokyo? It's just his mother, the Q-Micho elaborates, earning another warning Ikoa from Iwaizumi. But again, Ikoa ignores him. He crosses his arms in front of his chest and examines Atsumu with a straight face. Is Ikoa telling him the truth or is he taking him for a fool? Because in which world would that make any sense? Why would Sakusa join Ikoa when he doesn't even like the moron? Why would he join Ikoa's yakuza when he could have just joined a Shijima instead? Especially when his family is living in Tokyo. He could be on bad terms with the Adler's boss. But even if he would have screwed things up with a Shijima, why doesn't he at least bring his mother here to Sendai? She seems like an easy target in Tokyo, doesn't she? A Shijima would thus have Sakusa in his grip. Or is that perhaps even the case? Nothing of this makes any sense and it's starting to piss Atsumu off. He knows nothing, absolutely nothing about this bastard and it bugs him. Why does it bug him? He shouldn't care. Atsumu doesn't care. He doesn't fucking care. His mother? He asks curiously. Oh, fuck him. She's sick. The docs can't really agree on what's specifically wrong with her, but she suffers from brain damage for a good while now, and you know, Kyo's just being the responsible son. Atsumu's eyes are wide open, his ears perked up. Curiosity is written all over his face, but before he can ask Ikoa any more questions, he is thwarted by Iwaizumi, who now looks really pissed off. Something about him is somewhat intimidating. I think that's enough, he growls. Ikoa turns around and raises an eyebrow, but Iwaizumi couldn't care less. What do you want, Atsumu? Is he annoyed because of him or because of Ikoa? Did Atsumu interrupt them both doing something? Oh, come on, he's not stupid. Of course, he interrupted them. But is that the reason why Iwaizumi is in such a bad mood? It started when Ikoa talked about Sakusa's family. Atsumu clears his throat. I'm gonna spend the day with Bokken and visit Hinata. I was wondering if anyone else wants to join us. Chibi-chan. Ikoa beams. He loops an arm around Iwaizumi's neck, clings to him, and presses his body into his side. Atsumu squints again. Oh, Iwaizumi is so much more than just Ikoa's right-hand man. Iwa-chan and I will be busy today, but squeeze Chibi-chan from me. Atsumu nods and tries not to think about what exactly busy would mean in this case. He glances at Iwaizumi and stifles a snarky comment. Gosh, he really can't mess with him. I was hoping to inform Omi-kun personally, but since he's obviously not here anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. How considerate of you to let him know. Oikawa grins. Atsumu raises an eyebrow. Yeah, unlike some others, I'm not an ass. That has Oikawa chuckling. Don't worry, he will return in the evening. Then you'll have him back. I don't want him back. Sure. I hope he gets killed. I doubt it. Atsumu raises an eyebrow and all he can see is Oikawa's mischievous expression. If it was just Oikawa and him, if they were alone, then Atsumu would have asked what that meant. He would have asked why SakuAtsu is supposedly so safe in Tokyo. He would have asked what this was all about. But with Iwaizumi here, Atsumu knows when he's crossing lines, and it's more than obvious that Iwaizumi is protecting that bastard from something. Atsumu huffs. It's strange that someone like SakuAtsu Kiyumi can have true friends. Is there any news from Osaka? Atsumu asks, diverting from the topic. When they are alone. When they are alone, Atsumu will satisfy his curiosity. My friends are onto something. I'll let you know as soon as I figure out more, the 𝒂𝒏𝒈 replies, and Atsumu nods. He makes his way back to the door with slow steps, never turning his back to the two. Atsu-chan. Oikawa stops him before he can get out the door. Atsumu halts. Don't be too hard on Kiyumi. Atsumu blinks a few times until the words have sunk in. Then he snorts and leaves Oikawa's office, shaking his head. He shouldn't care. Atsumu-san. It's crazy what the sound of a voice can do to a person's state of mind. To be honest, Atsumu doesn't know what he did to deserve this. When he enters Hinata's room and is greeted with the biggest grin he has ever seen, his heart leaps. Atsumu is glad, happy, and relieved to find the boy in such a damn good condition again. The way he remembered seeing him last time, it was really questionable whether he would survive at all. But that's long forgotten now. Shoyo. Atsumu's look was soft, calm. He rushes to Hinata and pulls him into a hug, making sure not to hurt him as he does so. Fuck, Sho, he mumbles, eliciting another bubbly laugh from the boy's lungs. Hinata's body is warm. He is alive. Shit. He's alive. Hey, look who we got here. 𝒂𝒏𝒈-san. Hinata beams when Atsumu pulls away and lets 𝒂𝒏𝒈 greet the kid properly. It's so good to see you, guys. It's good to see you're doing well, Shoyo, Atsumu replies, relief written all over his face. Hinata flashes him a toothy grin, making Atsumu smile as well until guilt returns with a frown. Shoyo, about what happened in 𝒕𝒉𝒄𝒄𝒄. No hard feelings, Atsumu-san. Atsumu's eyes widen. He shakes his head. Before he can open his mouth, however, Hinata continues and deflects. Oikawa-san told me that you got a lot closer to finding your partner. Hinata doesn't give him a chance to respond. With a skeptical expression on his face, Atsumu observes the boy, but he finds no trace of false modesty. Hinata doesn't blame him at all for what happened. In his eyes, an apology seems to be gratuitous. He has long since forgiven him. Atsumu can see that clearly. He huffs a laugh, closes his eyes, and drops his head a little. He shakes it before glancing at Hinata with a relieved and sincere smile. In which world did he deserve such a good friend as Hinata? He is grateful to have him. Atsumu is now working with Omi, but 𝒂𝒏𝒈 laughs, causing Hinata's eyes to pop. Omi-san? Damn. I want to work with Omi-san too. I bet that's super cool. Atsumu snorts, tucking his hands into his jacket pockets. We have different definitions of cool, Shoyo-kun. Hinata giggles. I mean, he's kind of intimidating. But have you ever seen him fight? Whoa. I wish I was as good as him. The way he handles his gun, he just goes swoosh and there it is. And then bang bang and no one has a chance to even get close to him. That's true, but 𝒂𝒏𝒈 chuckles from his seat next to Hinata's hospital bed. His strong arms are crossed in front of his chest as he rocks back in the chair. SakuAtsu is probably the best on our team. Probably. I mean, 𝒂𝒏𝒈-san, I love you, but no one really comes close to Omi-san. Ha. Atsumu leans back against the wall and lifts an eyebrow. He's half annoyed by how much Hinata praises that bastard and half amused. Is that so? Hinata flinches, his eyes widening as he realizes who he's talking to. Then he waves his hand apologetically in front of him and rubs the back of his head with the other. Of course, you know how he fights. He knocked you out, didn't he? Shoyo-kun, what the hell? I just mean, Hinata's getting bogged down. If I ever had the chance to pick a team for a mission, it would probably be you, Omi-san, and 𝒂𝒏𝒈-san. He beams and flatters his colleagues. 𝒂𝒏𝒈 stares at the ceiling and mumbles to himself. Mia, SakuAtsu, 𝒂𝒏𝒈, and your boy Hinata. Hinata grins and points both of his thumbs at himself, his eyes narrow due to his big fat smile. Atsumu and 𝒂𝒏𝒈 burst out laughing. Shoyo. We would make such a cool team. Hinata is an idiot. We could give ourselves a sick name. Mia, SakuAtsu, 𝒂𝒏𝒈 and Shoyo MSBY. Just imagine what that sounds like. Best is, we link it to a really fascinating animal that embodies our abilities. 𝒂𝒏𝒈 is at least as stupid as Hinata. Oh. Yes. And then if we communicated over the radio, it would sound super cool. Hinata cups a hand in front of his mouth and disguises his voice. KCHHH, our vision is clear. MSBY over. Hinata and Bakuto hype themselves up and squeal, which somehow makes Atsumu laugh a little as well. Those two are pure chaos. Just what he needs. You guys do realize Omi would pretty much hate ya. Omi-san loves us. He would always have our backs. Hinata must be misjudging SakuAtsu a lot. Or maybe it's just Atsumu who hasn't really figured the bastard out yet. It remains an unanswered question. The three of them fool around until the nurses practically kick Bakuto and Atsumu out since Hinata still needs to rest. It's amazing how quickly the boy has recovered, yet he's still banged up. It's not very surprising, regarding the injuries he's had. But it's like Iwaizumi said, Hinata is strong. Nothing will kill him that easily. Atsumu-san, Hinata begins, his broad smile shrinking to a slight one. Thank you for sending Kojima over. Atsumu's eyes widen. He tilts his head to the side. You've been talking to him? Hinata shakes his head and pouts. It never ends well when we talk, he mutters. Then. He needed to see I was okay. I needed to see that he wasn't going to do anything stupid. You were the one who took Yako out, right? Oikawa told me that Yama took the murder on himself. So, our team is off the hook. Ashijima has to sort it out internally now. Atsumu frowns. Why? Wouldn't that be the perfect reason to finally attack Oikawa? Bakuto grins and shakes his head. That's not how it works with them. Atsumu understands absolutely nothing. Oikawa trained Kojima, you know. We're both from Karasuno, Hinata explains. Kojima still respects Oikawa, but in the end, he decided to go a different way. However, that doesn't turn them into enemies. He's still somewhat loyal. But why? Atsumu doesn't get it. Ashijima is also from Miyagi, from Shiratorizawa to be precise. Hinata elaborates and causes Atsumu's heart to stop a beat. What? He did many things right. That's why he is in Tokyo now, leader of the Sweden Adler. And for a long time, he wanted Oikawa to join him. Bakuto adds. Atsumu frowns. An alliance? Sort of, Hinata confirms. Then, he chuckles. But Oikawa has always been Ashijima's rival. He's never liked the guy. They'd be strong if they teamed up, Atsumu points out, only earning another snicker from Hinata. Ashijima has gotten his hands on a lot of things that Oikawa fought hard for. They are, very often of different opinions. With Oikawa, we are all truly free in how we act. His ideas about Yakuza aren't bad. He's actually one of the good kinds, you know? Atsumu snorts. Yakuza and good in one sentence is pretty ridiculous. Oikawa cares about his men, Bakuto explains. While Ashijima is mostly concerned with how much he controls. On top of that, they are both pretty stubborn. You can imagine how often they clashed. Atsumu is aware that a gang war is always pointless because that would only mean there would be losses on both sides. Losses from which others could obtain an advantage. After all, there is also a third batch in the round that was at least as big as Oikawa's or Ashijima's Yakuza. Deisho Suguru. You guys are still here. A nurse scolds as she comes in to check on Hinata. The kid laughs. Bakuto rises abruptly from his chair, and Atsumu lifts his hands in surrender, pushing himself away from the wall. We're as good as gone. The nurse shoos them away, making Hinata laugh even harder. She's short and dainty, which makes the whole situation of her having a grip on two dangerous broad-built men pretty hilarious. Just before Atsumu and Bakuto are out the door, however, the blonde pauses again and turns to Hinata. Hey Sho, he starts, infected by the kid's bright smile. It's really good to have you back. Hinata nods. I'm glad to be back, Atsumu-san. After spending half of the day at the hospital visiting Hinata and the other half strolling around with Bakuto, the two of them eventually end up at Sugura's bar. A good drink to end this marvelous day is all Atsumu needs right now. Honestly, it's fantastic that Hinata is doing so well and Bakuto's company has been nothing but sheer fun. Atsumu likes him at least as much as he likes Hinata. These guys are amazing. To Hinata. Sugura toasts and raises his glass, encouraging Atsumu and Bakuto to join him in drinking. The two smile broadly and chime in, tilting their heads back to down the liquor. It reminds Atsumu so much of the time in Inarizaki before Osamu disappeared. A carefree evening in a bar, hanging out with his friends and drinking with them. Having no worries, just good vibes. Damn, how much Atsumu missed that. Does he even deserve it? Akashi. Atsumu has no chance to slip into a new spiral of thoughts, as Bakuto fortunately, or maybe not, prevents him from doing so. Bakuto is unstoppable when mentioned Akashi enters Sugura's bar. What follows are bar stools toppling over, a half-spilled drink on the counter, and various indefinable noises that sound suspiciously like squealing and suppressed screeching from Bakuto. He practically jumps on Akashi, but the look on the man's face isn't nearly as surprised as Atsumu expected it to be. On the contrary, Akashi looks just plainly done. He must be used to Bakuto's antics. Atsumu and Sugura are laughing. Hey. Bakuto has a firm grip on the delicate man. His bulky arms are wrapped around Akashi's narrow shoulders. Bakuto's face is tilted down to him. He laughs, beaming, just before kissing Akashi tenderly. Nudging his nose, then diving in. Damn. Atsumu thinks. They are infatuated with each other. Here, Akashi. Sugora beckons him over, already mixing a fancy cocktail. Akashi, slightly flushed, breaks away from Bakuto and walks over to Atsumu and Suga at the bar. Suga-san, hello. He gives him a polite nod before turning to Atsumu. And you must be Mio-san. Atsumu, he insists. Atsumu-san it is. Akashi grants him a sheepish smile, which Atsumu immediately returns, beaming broadly. He is truly the complete opposite of Bakuto. Atsumu has already learned a lot from Oikawa and most of all from Bakuto about him and is tremendously grateful to him for having saved Hinata's life. As much as Atsumu knows, Akashi Kiji is an excellent doctor. He's too fucking good at what he's doing. Hinata was full of beans when Atsumu and Bakuto visited him. Atsumu is at least 95% sure that no other doctor can patch the boy up and get him back on his feet so quickly in such a short amount of time. Akashi must be incredibly talented. Atsumu also notices this the more time he spends with him throughout the evening. 2 drinks in and the clock strikes midnight. Akashi is mostly calm and composed, usually choosing not to show a wide range of emotions. He has a habit of calling everyone, especially Bakuto, out on their foolish actions. So, even Atsumu and Suga aren't spared from his blunt comments. That's something Atsumu likes about him right away. He is real, not faking it for anyone. To be honest, there's something very comforting about him and, along with Suga and Bakuto, he's someone Atsumu feels genuinely at ease with. What is it about Oikawa's people? Akashi, Atsumu wonders, why are you working for Oikawa? He is too smart to get involved with the moron and at this point, Atsumu is sick of holding back. He already has too many questions, and Akashi is the type of guy who will definitely spare him an honest answer. So Atsumu has to take his chance. Oh, that's easy. Akashi smiles slightly, first glancing into Bakuto's eyes for a few seconds before turning back to Atsumu. Oikawa made it possible for me to live my dream. Atsumu frowns and tilts his head slightly. What do you mean? My purpose has always been to help Bakuto-san, he says fondly. And well, you know him. He loves to take risks, and I'm really not one who could physically support him. So you wanna make sure you can at least heal his wounds? Atsumu quirks a brow. Bakuto-san is incredibly strong and not easy to defeat. But he's only human, and every human makes mistakes. If that's all I can do, then I want to do it right. Akashi's gaze flits back to Bakuto. The latter must be telling Suga an incredibly silly and funny story. The two laugh boisterously and Atsumu catches the slight blush on Akashi's cheeks. He loves Bakuto. Truly. Unconditionally. We've known Oikawa-san for a while through a friend of ours. He has offered to pay for my medical education if Bakuto joins his group. Atsumu snorts before bringing the beer bottle to his lips and taking a sip. Of course, this jerk has ulterior motives. I wasn't able to scrape together that much money, and Bakuto-san was and still is in good hands with Oikawa-san, he elaborates. In the end, I was finally able to help him, so all of this was a win-win situation. Yeah, cause he gets you to repay him by working for him. Atsumu narrows his eyes. You can't be that naive, Akashi. I'm not naive, Atsumu-san. Akashi shakes his head, his expression is straight. He never asked me to do that, not once. He even offered to let me and Bakuto move on once I was done, but that was never an option for me. Why, though? It doesn't make sense. Why would you voluntarily work for Yakuza? Can't you see what they're doing? He's one of the good guys, Atsumu. Akashi smiles, sincerely. He can be trusted. Atsumu huffs a laugh. Well, if that doesn't sound familiar. He's Yakuza Kumicho on top of that. Atsumu's eyes are fixed on the bottle in front of him. Then his gaze snaps back to Akashi's blue ones. How can someone like that be good? You have doubts, Akashi states. That's understandable. But Oikawa plays with his cards on the table. If he's serious about someone or something, he shows it. Besides, Akashi smiles again. You wouldn't still be here if you didn't know that. So far, Oikawa has actually done everything in his power to help Atsumu find his brother. He knows that he is a good deal closer to Osamu. He also knows that this would never have been possible without Oikawa. Still, Atsumu is skeptical. Oikawa can be sly. Believe me, I know that. But he wouldn't have brought you into the team if his intentions weren't serious. Akashi offers Atsumu his bottle to clink glasses with. Otherwise, the two of us would have a big problem now because I'm not particularly eager to leave my boyfriend alone with people I can't trust. Trust. What a huge word. Atsumu stares first at Akashi's bottle, then at his mischievous face. He means well. They all do. Maybe Atsumu can truly rely on them. Maybe he can't. He doesn't know. In the end, he clinks glasses with Akashi and smirks. What? You think you can handle someone like me? An assassin? I'm a doctor, Atsumu-san, a damn good one at that. Where do you think Sakusa-san got the injections he gave you a few weeks ago to send you to slumber? Atsumu gasps. They were from you. I know my remedies. Kiji-kun. Atsumu chuckles. I'm shocked. I can help with that, too. Atsumu laughs and shakes his head. He takes a sip before setting the bottle down on the counter. We're all a little crazy, Akashi chuckles. But I'm here if you want to talk to someone who's a semi-outsider. Atsumu smiles faintly. Thanks, Akashi. He nods to Atsumu and is caught off guard the next moment by Bakuto, pulling him into his arms from behind. Kiji, I love you so much. Akashi narrows his eyes. What did you put into his drink? His skeptical gaze is fixed on Sugar, who holds up his hands in surrender. Nothing he hasn't asked for. He grins too mischievously to be innocent. Atsumu laughs and takes another sip of his beer when he suddenly feels his phone buzzing in his pocket. As he pulls it out and checks his messages, his eyes widen for a split second before a deep frown settles on his face. Text messages between Omi-kun and Atsumu. What are you doing right now? Hanging out in Suga's bar with Bokken and Akashi. Why? Are you drunk? Is he fucking serious? Atsumu blinks a few times. He should actually text that. Are you fucking serious? As vulgar as you write, it is quite possible to assume that. Atsumu shoots the next message before Sakusa can finish typing, mumbling some curses under his breath. The frown on his face is deepening, his mouth is twisted into a pout, and his fingers are tapping quite furiously. No, I am not drunk. Why the fuck are you even asking? What follows instantly shatters Atsumu's fed-up expression. Instead of narrowed eyes, they are now wide open. Instead of scrunched up eyebrows, they now shoot up so high that they almost meet his hairline. Instead of curling up and sulking, he is now sitting upright on the bar stool, curiosity coursing through his body. Can I see you tonight? These words are so plain and simple, and yet they turn Atsumu's world upside down. His heart slips into the pit of his stomach and at the same time, it starts beating so fast and loud that it's the only thing Atsumu can perceive. Sakusa wanting to see him can only be for one reason. Atsumu isn't dense. If they meet up outside of their missions, it's for one thing and one thing only, and Atsumu can't decide if that would be such a good decision tonight. Sakusa is still his enemy, his rival, the last person with whom he should end such an amazingly peaceful day. And yet Atsumu cannot deny that it's somehow appealing. This arrangement has been about him, not Sakusa. Well, Atsumu keeps telling himself that it's a two-sided thing, but in truth, they both know it's about him blowing off some steam to resharpen his senses and to be able to focus on his missions. It's not easy to work with such a damn attractive bastard like Sakusa. So, the fact that he is the one asking Atsumu this time is kind of odd. Atsumu's first question is why. Then, what is he going to do to him? Does Sakusa need to clear his head this time? Will he strip himself of his clothes? Will he touch Atsumu properly? Will Atsumu be allowed to touch him? Fuck. Please let me touch you. Atsumu's heart sinks lower. He scrubs a hand over his face. He can't be that needy, right? Of course. He craves that close contact with another human being while shutting out the rest of the world. The death, the crime, the worries about his brother. But he can't be that desperate to get involved with Sakusa one more time, right? Once, out of curiosity. Twice, a mistake. A third time? Atsumu closes his eyes and swallows once his fingers managed to act faster than his mind. When and where? He shouldn't be doing that. The next message comes instantly. Same as usual. ASAP. Same as usual. Atsumu really shouldn't be doing that. I'm there in 20. He's going to regret this. Spicy stuff starts here. Please hit the AO3 link in the info box if you want to read the rest of this chapter.